The film opens by showing a woman named Mary going for a morning run near a forest. As she passes through a nearby cemetery, she suddenly feels like someone is watching her. She senses a presence and realizes someone is secretly taking photos of her from a distance. Alarmed, Mary quickly leaves the area. Moments later, the mysterious man who had been watching her begins to chase her, forcing Mary to run as fast as she can to save herself. Thankfully, she manages to inject him with a sedative, knocking him unconscious. Panicked, Mary quickly drives away from the forest. When she arrives home, Mary activates her security system, only to be confronted by her neighbor, Zhao, who complains that Mary damaged her garden while driving in earlier. As the moment settles, Mary notices she is still holding a knife that belonged to the mysterious man. Staring at it, she is suddenly pulled back into a memory from 3 years earlier. At that time, Mary, a skilled engineer, and her husband, Robert, were showing their daughter, Kelly, their new home. A luxurious house, equipped with advanced technology designed entirely by Mary herself. She demonstrates the smart features of the house, all controlled through her phone and smartwatch. The system can turn on lights, adjust temperature, dim the windows, operate the washing machine, and much more. Every feature was carefully designed to help Kelly, who could no longer walk normally after suffering a severe knee injury. Returning to the present, Mary heads into the monitoring room to observe the security cameras. Meanwhile, in the garage, the mysterious man begins to regain consciousness and slowly crawls out of the car trunk. It becomes clear that Mary had intentionally brought him into her home. This is where her trap truly begins. As the man wanders into the basement, he finds himself surrounded by photographs and official documents related to violent assault cases. Mary then plays a news broadcast reporting the deaths of several women who all share the same physical traits: brown hair, similar height, and similar facial features. The report reveals that in 2015, the FBI discovered the remains of the first victim near a cabin in Oregon. The woman had been burned to death, and her tongue had been deliberately preserved inside a jar. Investigators learned that the killer would move to a new country after murdering 3 victims. The FBI eventually created a sketch of the suspect, believed to be a laborer. Since the first crime scene included the word Diablo carved into a tree, the media began calling the killer Diablo, a Spanish word meaning devil. As the man stares directly into the CCTV camera, Mary compares his face to a photograph in her files. Convinced he is Diablo, she opens a locked room containing 3 photographs of victims displayed inside a cage. The video continues, explaining how these women had their tongues cut out and were held captive for a long time before eventually dying inside the enclosure. When Diablo notices a necklace hanging nearby, he suddenly remembers his mother, the woman who treated him with cruelty and constantly called him Diablo. Realizing the necklace once belonged to her, he takes it and puts it on. Mary then plays a video showing an interview with the family of one of the victims. They speak about their hope that someone, someday, will make Diablo pay for what he has done. Moved by that moment, Mary activates the electric shock system, knocking Diablo unconscious. She then looks at a photo of her daughter displayed on a small altar. Her mind drifts back to a memory of the day she and her husband gave Kelly a luxury car as a birthday gift. She had also arranged for the best medical specialists to treat Kelly's injured leg, hoping she would one day walk normally again. When Diablo regains consciousness, Mary leads him into a room filled with steam pipes. She plays another video, this one explaining the story of a victim named Darlene Haran, who once managed to escape after Diablo injected her with a paralyzing drug. Mary raises the temperature inside the room and forces Diablo to step inside, making him experience the same suffering his victim once endured. When Darlene escaped, the drug had already damaged her eyesight. As she stumbled through the corridor, she was burned alive by a hot steam pipe. Mary then shows a photo of another victim, Michaela Meyer, who was burned to death after her tongue was cut out. She follows it by revealing 3 more victims who all suffered the same fate. Even after seeing all the evidence of his crimes, Diablo shows no remorse. Instead, he mocks and provokes Mary. Enraged, she activates the fire sensors. As the flames rise, Diablo notices a hidden space beneath the table and rushes toward it. Mary once again looks at her daughter's photo, remembering the moment Kelly had fully recovered and was finally able to walk again. Not long after, Kelly insisted on going to a park by herself. A park. That decision would cost her life. She was later found dead, burned, and mutilated in the same way as Diablo's other victims. After years of investigation, an FBI agent named Selena finally uncovers crucial information from a cabin believed to have once belonged to Diablo. Selena, who is also Mary's close friend, shares everything she finds without holding anything back. As Mary reviews the files, she becomes especially focused on a document containing chemical formulas. She then asks permission to take it home, sensing it may hold the key to everything. In short, after learning that the chemical formula was meant to create a temporary paralysis toxin, Mary goes to a chemical supplier and illegally buys all the required substances. She then tests the injections on herself to measure how long the paralysis effect lasts. When Robert finds out about her reckless actions, he contacts Selena to check on Mary's condition. Selena knows the drug is supposed to cause paralysis for 60 to 80 minutes, so she becomes suspicious when Mary recovers in less than 40 minutes. It soon becomes clear that Mary has been injecting herself repeatedly over time, building a resistance and reducing the drug's effect on her body. Meanwhile, Diablo, who has been trapped inside the dark room, struggles to climb back up while holding a rock. The flames flare up again, forcing him to throw the rock at the CCTV camera and shut the fire system down. After disabling the heat sensors, he tries to escape through an air vent. However, he soon realizes he is stuck inside the narrow space. When Mary realizes Diablo is trapped, she prepares another injection to paralyze him. As she moves closer, Diablo pretends to be helpless, luring her in before suddenly attacking her. Mary quickly retreats into the lower room to escape. Unfortunately, Diablo manages to catch up and injects her with the same drug she brought with her. As he prepares to cut her tongue, Mary quickly activates a video to distract him. In that brief moment, she uses her backup syringe to inject him instead. Both of them end up partially paralyzed in the room. Before losing full control of her body, Mary sets a timer on her watch to track the effects of the drug. As she waits, Mary remembers her earlier conversations with Selena. During those discussions, she noticed something strange about the case. 2 victims had died in different countries at the exact same time, which suggested that Diablo might not be acting alone. When Selena received a phone call, Mary used the moment to secretly copy all the data from her laptop and take her FBI access card. That explains how Mary gained access to so much confidential information about the case. Using Selena's credentials, Mary later enters the evidence storage room. As she studies the maps showing where the victims were found, she notices a forgotten piece of land that had been completely overlooked by the authorities and left unmanaged for years. The next day, driven by her desire for revenge, Mary goes to that location to search for Diablo. When she arrives, she finds a grave marked with the name Sarah. Hanging from the gravestone as a necklace, the same one that triggered Diablo's memories back in her house. Nearby, Mary also finds a grave belonging to a dog. Curious about its connection, she decides to dig it up to uncover the truth behind it. Back in the present, nearly 40 minutes after the paralysis began, Mary slowly starts to regain movement in her body. Even though she is still weak, she grabs a knife and prepares to finish Diablo. But suddenly, Diablo rises and launches an attack. Because both of them are still weakened, his strikes lack strength, giving Mary the chance to escape. Unwilling to let her go, Diablo chases Mary into the house. Fortunately, she manages to slip into a room and lock the door behind her. Meanwhile, Diablo storms into the monitoring room and begins smashing all the equipment inside. At the same time, Robert arrives at the house and is approached by Gia, who tells him about Mary's strange behavior. Inside the house, Diablo walks toward Kelly's memorial altar and deliberately destroys everything there, including her photograph, hoping to provoke Mary. Unable to control her anger any longer, Mary charges at Diablo and attacks him with everything she has. After managing to take his knife, she retreats back into her room, only to be startled when Robert suddenly appears outside asking her to open the door. Afraid that he might get hurt, Mary chooses to ignore his calls. After gathering her strength and steadying her mind, Mary decides it is time to end everything. She follows the trail of blood leading through the house, but Diablo suddenly appears and attacks her again. Outside, Selena arrives after receiving Robert's call, hoping to calm Mary down and convince her to open the door. Inside, a brutal fight breaks out between Mary and Diablo. Hearing Selena's call, Mary finally manages to open the door. As Selena rushes inside, she is accidentally struck during the struggle, and the blade in her hand pierces her abdomen. Mary manages to knock Diablo unconscious, but Selena collapses badly injured. Robert quickly tries to stop Selena's bleeding while Mary urges him to call for medical help. She knows that before help arrives, she must deal with Diablo herself and finally bring her long pursuit of revenge to an end. After tying Diablo to a specialized bed, Mary wakes him and plays a video showing the moment she dug up Sarah's grave. Through her investigation, Mary had uncovered something the FBI completely missed. Every location where Diablo killed his victims was always near a family grave. That detail became the key to everything. By narrowing her search, Mary eventually found Sarah's grave located right beside the grave of a dog. Realizing this was the starting point of Diablo's pattern, she became convinced that Sarah was his biological mother. As Mary dug deeper into Sarah's past, she uncovered a disturbing truth. Sarah deeply despised her own child. Rumors revealed that she often abused him and repeatedly called him Diablo. From this, Mary suspected that Sarah's husband, Diablo's father, was also deeply disturbed. That hatred eventually spread not only toward her husband, but toward her own child as well. Unable to endure the abuse any longer, Diablo eventually killed both his mother and the dog. From that moment on, he began hunting women who resembled her. They all had brown hair, similar height, and similar facial features. He treated his victims the same way he had treated his mother, cutting out their tongues, the very thing he believed had cursed and tormented him throughout his life. As Mary reveals the truth, she begins cutting off Diablo's tongue while showing footage of herself burning Sarah's grave. She then ends her long path of revenge by burning Diablo alive. As the flames consume him, a photograph slips from his grasp. It shows him as a child with Sarah and his father. The father's face appears torn, as if deliberately destroyed by Sarah herself. Days later, the media explodes with news of a woman who avenged her daughter by killing Diablo. However, the FBI is left confused once again. Even after Diablo's death, new victims are discovered killed in the same brutal way. It becomes clear that the true nightmare is not over. The one continuing the killings appears to be Diablo's father. So the moral of the story is, never trust creepy joggers. Family trauma lasts forever. And if someone names their kid Diablo, then maybe therapy should start immediately instead of decades later.